Hello everybody, my name is Zool, and welcome to another Knights of the Old Republic mod showcase / review. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at Droid World. This is not M478, I want to make that very clear. This is actually an older mod that I'm doing a review for in part of a series called M478 A History, which is a documentary project that Sith Holocron and I have been working on. So if you want to go check that out, I'll put some links to it down below. Now, let's get started with me explaining kind of what Droid World is. Droid World is a mod developed to restore the planet of M478, but it was done as kind of a separate splinter project from the M478 enhancement project that I think most people are familiar with. This uses those same lost modules, remaining files, documentation, but it attempts to build things in almost a wholly different way. So it's actually very interesting to see how two people can go with the same base materials, two groups or multiple groups can go with the same materials, split things off, and come up with wholly unique ideas and different stuff. Now, before we go any further into the video, I do have to say this is not a mod I would recommend you download and play. While it is interesting from a historical perspective, it is not very fun. It is mostly just combat, so unless you like the combat in Kotor a lot, you're probably not going to enjoy this mod, since that's pretty much all there is in it. Okay, so what is Droid World? What makes it different? Well, Droid World starts on Goto's yacht. You go to Goto's yacht and you find a file that references a hidden planet titled M478. And it talks about some different terminals that you have to use to access M478 and some other stuff like that. And you basically have to travel around and you have to find some references. It's kind of like this hidden lost planet. I think this is probably the strongest thing the mod does. It actually does feel like there's this hidden planet that's lost in space, and you have to go out there and gather the pieces and kind of track down the hyperspace coordinates. But after that, things get a little weird. First of all, T3 seems to be heavily involved with M478. He seems to hide some stuff from you and won't give you the data until you give some other stuff to him. But once that happens, you can get to the planet. Now, because modding was in a bit of a more primitive state, you don't even use the star map. You actually have to use the security console on the Ebon Hawk, which you have to walk to, click on, and then you access the hyperspace coordinates to M478, and it takes you there. Once you arrive on the planet, it's going to look pretty much like any M478 that you're familiar with, in that all the modules are the same. Now, the order that these modules come in is actually different. The landing zone is the same, but I believe the industrial district and the other district that are in the current project are swapped around, and some of the modules are in different orders, stuff like that. Like I mentioned before, the mod is basically all combat. It's very few dialogues. There's a couple with some droids, which in mine had some bugs to their names and stuff like that, and you're also going to find a lot of bugs in here. But essentially, you're basically just going to be fighting your way through hordes of droids on M478. As soon as you land on the planet, you have a small dialogue, and then that's pretty much it. You go. There isn't a part where you play as a droid or any of that other stuff. It mostly keeps the base mechanics of M478, including the mechanics similar to Goto's yacht, where you have to download different programs to bypass certain areas. So yeah, it makes it a little bit repetitive, and with all the slogging of combat, it's not the best. That isn't to say that there's not a story. This mod has a story, and the story is really weird. And I mean really weird. When I first played this mod on a live stream, I actually started to laugh out loud at just how bizarre things are. Okay, so where do we start? First thing, this isn't just a hologram of a Phyraxan shark. According to the conversation we had, like, this guy is for real a shark. Like, this isn't like, oh, he appears like it's a hologram of a shark. No, it's a shark. Like, this is an actual shark we're talking to right now. Number two thing that we need to point out, we enslaved the entire planet, and he gave us 2 Bondar crystals as the reward. Really weird. I feel like it's not quite in line with the, remember when we walked onto the planet, we opened up 3 containers just full of stuff? That was more of a reward than we got for saving the entire planet. For that, we got 2 Bondar crystals. Number 3, T3 for some reason is built here in a really confusing thing. The origins of the planet are that it was built by the Ricotta, which kind of makes sense. I mean, I'll give it that. It's better than the weirdly ambiguous, like, who are the colonists and all that kind of stuff from the enhancement project, because that one doesn't matter. This kind of at least tries to relate it to Kotor, but it was really weird. Also, there's a star map here that leads us to Rakata Prime. It's a little bit weird, I know. I was actually almost stunned at the end of the mod because the payoff just, it didn't feel worth it to me. Now, this isn't to say this mod is all bad. Again, I would really like to mention that this was pretty much the only way for you to experience the Droid planet, and restoring a planet on its own is a huge undertaking. Even now, with tons of people and all the new stuff that we know about modding, there is still a lot of stuff to be done to the enhancement project, the M478 enhancement project, that keeps bringing it to a better and better level. One of the things the mod does that I think a lot of people would really appreciate is that it is an optional side quest. You can come, you can kind of check out M478. You're supposed to get good loot. I got 2 Bondar crystals, but you know, instead of forcing you to go to this planet every time, and maybe making it an optional side quest might be more likely to get people to try the mod. My conclusions is, while this mod has a really great place in history, it is definitely not something I would recommend checking out. I'm going to end the video here. There's not really a lot more I can tell you. Most of this, again, has been covered in M478 history, so go ahead, check that out. Again, link down in the description, and stay tuned for the next episode in that series. Until then, I've been Zul, and I hope that you have an excellent day.